All right, it's been a while since I made this disclaimer, and I should probably do it again. Well, if you are watching this YouTube channel and you're afraid of cuss words, please back out now, because once I get past like the 30-second mark, as is generally the case in these videos, I start using F-bombs and profanity. Not what you're looking for in a travel channel if you're a normal person, but if you're a sarcastic piece of garbage like I am, then this might be up your alley. I don't know. So we're driving down the highway over to Six Flags over Texas, the original Six Flags Park. Oh, it's been 30 seconds. Fuck! There it is, the word. All right, so anyway, let's keep going. So this is a continuation of, wow, I got 1 hour to fill. Just letting you know, just someone be transparent about what you've just clicked into. This is 1 hour long. But what you will get is a full park walkthrough through the entirety of Six Flags over Texas, so that ain't bad, right? Starting with Joker, this SNS free spin, which... I don't care. Nobody cares. It sucks. Down there's Judge Royce Green, but we'll be back about that. Six Flags over Texas, the original Six Flags Park. It's got a lot of charm that other parks don't have, and it's been built over time in a really cool way. In Dallas, it's a big city that matters. So it's pretty cool. Aquaman Power Wave, that's a piece of flying lies right there. It's fucked up. It's like open in 2020. Nope. 2021. Nah. 2022, boy who crawled wolf in this bitch. 2023, I'm not even gonna try it. That coaster right there is the only coaster in this park I've never been to, and I really only just realized that it exists. I guess I should go collect that credit. That's about all I'm gonna tell you about it, because I don't know. Alright, so we're entering the park. That old school looking sign is pretty cool. Vibora is down in the distance. But one of the recurring themes I have in these videos is that I record probably a little bit too much parking lot footage, because I'm a moron who really doesn't know what the fuck he's doing recording these fucking YouTube videos. So we're going down, and I am really ready to just get him, because I started doing like this. September 2022 was like one of the craziest fucking months of my life with just going to parks, man. So I started by going to some like local FEC bullshit, and then my friend Lacey joined me, and we went to Alabama Adventure, and then we're like, let's keep going over Georgia, let's keep going Dollywood, let's keep going Frontier City, let's keep going, and here's over Texas, here's the next keep going. And it's just pretty great. And so what you're seeing right now is the next part of the Let's Keep Going. We're entering the park right now, and Fright Fest. If you need information about Fright Fest, click X on this video and just type Fright Fest Six Flags in the YouTube, and good luck. I have no idea anything about that, because I only go to amusement parks so that I can ride roller coasters, maybe some flats, and if I'm with good company, maybe I might even eat at a restaurant, and I don't know. But you can't expect a lot out of me, because I'm a one-track oriented, stupid person who goes into these parks very high. And speaking of high, let me smoke. There's some weed. Do me a favor and drink some water, guys. You need to drink water to stay hydrated, and if you stay hydrated, you stay alive. And Six Flags charges for that shit, so you might as well drink more water now, so that you won't either be dehydrated or overcharged when you go to this park, because that's how Six Flags makes their money: advertisements and overcharging for fucking food and beverage. Fuck. That went down the wrong pipe. Fuck. Hold on. Let me wash it down with some Jameson and Coke Zero. What a good influence I am, right? Alright. So we're walking down this path that's going toward, obviously, other attractions. And as we walk toward this way, I want to remind you, once again, that Aquaman Power Splash should probably open, because it's kind of fucked up that they haven't opened it. Down the street, you see Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast, and that's a part of the video that I should probably announce by this point. I should have announced it in the first 15 seconds for search engine optimization reasons. However, this is the final day of operation of Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast before they close it, with bad marketing saying, hey, we're going to close it forever and what have you. When in actuality, they're just gonna fucking flip the thing and then turn it back into Mr. Freeze. Like, isn't it really marketably amazing when you can reverse something you did over a decade ago that the public loved and just reverse it back and then call that a new attraction. They should have just reversed one of the two, by the way, and left one forward, one back, and that would have actually been an upgrade to give customers the option. Maybe have the line split up to where you can choose whether you want forward or reverse blast. Either way, really, it's Six Flags right there, right? You know, you got your every other chain, and they build a new roller coaster, and here they're like, well, we're just gonna flip a train back. That's exciting. Down the street, you see Pandemonium, which honestly, these Gerstlauer sons of bitches are they're fun. They look like, you know, just generic credit filler family attractions, but they're quite fun as long as you don't have to wait over half an hour, or honestly over half a minute. If they're walk-ons, you need to be riding that shit because it's a really fun experience. But the capacity and the, you know, Six Flagsiness of it all, then I don't blame you for not riding that shit. There's Freeze, as we were talking about. We're going to spend some decent quality time with Freeze a little bit later, as it gets, you know, like yanked up the big stiff dick, boom, fall down. Batman the ride's back there. Who cares? So as we walk toward wherever the hell we're walking to next, I really don't remember the exact order of where we walk during this 1 hour and 7 minutes and 50 seconds throughout Six Flags Over Texas. But I promise to, because I was high then, and I'm high now. And I'll just narrate as I see, kind of react video format as we go forward to figure out what the hell I'm actually doing next. But I promise I'm going to give you very insightful commentary as we do that. And you know what? Look, I'm kind of remembering what's headed ahead. Because, like, Lacey was like, well, this park has a bunch of rides. And I was like, well, what do you kind of order we want to do? Well, let's start slow and get big or something. So I have a feeling we're about to do some mine train action. I might be wrong, so I want to make sure that I take a look at Boomtown Bar and not order something in Dusty Dan's, whatever. And just make sure I'm not telling fibs before I fucking do that shit. But I have a feeling that now that I'm looking at Mini Mine Train, that I'm telling this story correctly. It's kind of wild to see a mine train next to a mine train, you know, arrow. But okay. Mini Mine Train. It's fun. It's just a family ride. It does what it does. It's the redundancy of it being next to a mine train that's actually pretty freaking great that makes it redundant. It's a little bit of a weird thing, if you were to ask me my opinion. Why would you have a mine train next to a mine train rather than relocating that to another Six Flags property where it could get a little bit more use? Because not every Six Flags has a mine train, but... whatever. Macho Nacho. Fuck generic fucking food. Don't do that. So we handle that. Now, Runaway Mine Train is quite fun. It's a quirky little thing. It's themed kind of nice. It's fun. It's long. It's a pretty rewarding experience, and upper echelon Mine Train, in my opinion, not the best. It's no Thunderation, but it's fun. And I like how, it's nearby with Mr. Freeze and all that shit. A lot of interaction. It's kind of like cozy. It's cozy. That's how I would call that mine train. It's cozy. Re-rideable. I usually get two rides on it, if not three, each time I visit this place, especially when it has lines that look as gorgeous as this, you know. And by gorgeous, I mean devoid of people. Like, that's exactly what gorgeous crowds means. It's not the crowds. Crowds are pointless. Like, why do you want that in the park? It doesn't help. They only matter if they fill trains. And by they, I mean literally they, all people. Like, you only, I Monday to Wednesday are premium times for me to go to amusement parks because that's when they aren't there, and that's other guests. Why would you want to wait? It's silly. All right, so we're walking forward past that shit. I have a feeling Shockwave might be coming next because of that little Eiffel Tower looking observatory fake thing. And I remember in the past, I'd get so lost and not know where things were, and that would be my gateway to my homie, Shockwave. Let me drink. All right, so that's pretty cool. The fans and Superman Tower of Power. I have to really make this statement that I'm sure I've made it before, but like just the redundancy of Six Flags just renaming everything, just Superman. There's 14 different Supermans, 10 of which are roller coasters, and then one's a flat. It's just keeping track of all that stuff. If you go to other Six Flags properties, like, hey, did you ride Superman? It's an exhausting question to try to break down which Superman you're talking about. Mist fans are cool. You can clone Mist fans all you want, especially when it's blocking out that bitch-ass sun right behind it. Fuck the sun. I only need it to give me, like warm temperatures and nurturing and stuff. Not trying to burn my neck in an amusement park. That's bullshit. So as we continue walking toward, I'm thinking Shockwave, I hope. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this fan. I'm enjoying the shade. Six Flags doesn't always provide that, and this is one of the cases where it does, and that's quite nice. Which makes sense that they would provide it because, Dallas is a very big market, and you don't want to piss too many people off at the exact same time. That would be unmarketable decision making. And man, one of the problems that I have in these videos is that on one hand, I want to record a full park tour. I want to make it to where you can follow me with the voice turned, with the microphone, with the overall sound turned off, so they don't have to hear my stupid shit. And you can go through the park tour, but at the same time, when we walk through sections that's just incredibly barren and closed as this, where, like, even if it were open, I'd be struggling to tell you about these concessions that I'm never going to look at twice, and these guests I'm never going to look at twice. The magic returns. I wasn't even there for when the magic was there in the first place. I don't even know what that's even advertising, because this is a channel where it's a one-track oriented operation, where it's roller coasters, maybe flats, and then, like, if a guest trips and falls on a banana or something, I'm going to say, haha, Like, I'm not really going to focus on family-oriented entertainment and theming and, ooh, that's cute and ranking stuff, because every other channel does that already, and I'm not sitting here trying to be, like, a follower. So instead, what you're going to get is this very awkward, extremely long-winded walk to essentially nothing as we try to figure out what the fuck I'm going to talk about next, which I'm very confident now is Shockwave, especially as I kind of hover even further towards Shockwave. Scarier than ever. Yeah, what's scary is crowds. Like, if you want to really scare me, it's just fill it up with normal people, not scare actors. Why would you come on a weekend during, like, Halloween stuff, other than the recent haunted houses and stuff? Coasters matter more. I'm wrong, by the way. I know that most of you think that, like, I'm an ugly person talking like this. You're right. But I'm representing the minority of people out there who are coaster enthusiasts like me. And that coasters are the only fucking point. I'm sorry. It's why we travel. And then once we're there peripherally, secondarily, maybe tertiarily, we might be caring about other attractions such as restaurants and food and highways and Interstate 30 or whatever that is back there. But I'm here for Shockwave, the best fucking Schwarzkopf I have ridden so far. I've done Riddler Mindbender, I've done that Scorpion shit, and the Frontier City Silver Bullet, and Tigger, and some other smaller stuff. Super Duper Looper was closed when I was there. That was fucked, but I want to go back. Riddler Mindbender doesn't compare to this, the new version. I haven't ridden the old one, so I can't compare, because I know they changed the train, so the profiling is all different. But I rode this and Mindbender like within a couple weeks of each other, and this, like, if this were in a Mortal Kombat fight with Riddler Mindbender, then it's like Goro versus your character that's bootlegs from Wish.com. Like, you're fucked. This is such a better roller coaster, man. And what I really love about Shockwave is that it preserves the integrity of like a late, like what, 1978, something like that? I want to check. Did I get that right? Come on, RCB. One time. 4/22/1978. Let's go. It's got that whole classic integrity. It's still smooth. You're basically on a couch on this damn thing. It's so cozy, and the G-forces during those loops are insane, like 5-point upper G's, and one of the strongest moments of positive G-forces you're getting straight up, and ejector moments. It's like serious shit. This coaster looks like some secondary backing coaster that's been here for way too many years, and oh, woe is me, we have to tolerate. No, this is my second favorite coaster at this park, with New Texas Giant before it, Mr. Freeze behind that, and Titan behind that. This is my number 2. I don't know if it's a hot take or whatever, but I'm with you guys. I'm with you, you know, you guys in your 60s and stuff. This is the GOAT. This is great. That double loop is so intense. You're literally racing cars on I-30. At night, with all the lights on and shit, it's like some video game shit. And that little drop right there, you're ejected. You're yeeted, man. There's all kinds of forces in here that are smooth and insane, while still preserving like the feel of a classic coaster. I mean, the only thing that isn't like classic about it is having fucking go-karts next to it, I guess. Look, I have this Jameson. Let me have a drink. Give me a sec. Thank you for allowing that. Okay, so we're walking away from Shockwave. I mean, I might have ridden it 3 times just now, but I didn't edit that I did. And come on, would you blame me? It's a really, really nice roller coaster. I haven't ridden Mindbender at Galaxyland in Edmonton. I haven't done Olympia looping, of course. I have full plans on doing Germany as my first Europe stop in all of Europe, eventually by 25, 26, something like that. But I have to finish the U.S. first. But so I'm limited on the big, you know, traveling Schwarzkopfs. I was at Indiana Beach, but American Dry Looping Triple Loop wasn't open yet, so I haven't been fucking with that. Even though I heard that when it was Chimera, it was more intense than this, so I'm excited for that. But so far, all I have is this as the most intense one I've been on, and it's crazy cool. Like if I were in the late 70s and it was Schwarzkopf versus Arrow, I'd be in Team Schwarzkopf based on how fucking quality high this thing is. Racing, you see there's a car and there's a roller coaster next to it. You saw that little moment there. It's great. I personally think that is great, but I'm very concerned. There's a negative 100% chance that there hasn't been a car accident at some point in the past from somebody being distracted by the literal roller coaster right next to their vehicle on their commute to work, just hanging out while they're having fun and you're not having fun. Like, why wouldn't you hit a car by accident sometimes if you're, you know, an average driver, pedestrian or something? But not pedestrian. I'm glad there's no ability to strike pedestrians. It's just highway and coaster. That would have been fun. All right, so this observation tower thing, I've been to this park 4 times. I don't even know what it's called. I don't know what it looks like. Maybe I should care, but as of November 22nd, 2022, when I'm recording this, I still don't care. I'm sorry. So we're walking away from here, and it's pretty consistent. Shockwave plane. Shockwave, it has been really great all 4 times that I've been here in the last few years. Still impressing the shit out of me. New Texas Giant the same. This park's very consistent. Freeze as well. Titan is the one thing that changed, and I'll talk to you about that when I get. Hey, man, scratch your nose with your shoulder. All right, ices. Who cares? You can get your icy from your local 7-Eleven, Wawa, Circle K, Circle fucking Racetrack jerk. Why would you be getting ices at an amusement park? Like, I understand Dippin' Dots, because I talk about that a lot. And, you know, like rare shit and like weird blue muffin, blue ice cream shit from Kings Island looking ass. Not chopsticks, don't eat that. But why would you be eating ices? Pineapple Man's coming soon. Who cares? I don't even know if that's a drink or a person or a show or a ride. Bundle giveaway. Yeti bundle. Dude, I got approached by those Yeti motherfuckers at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. It's like, hey, do you want to meet the Yeti? Not really. And then they hustled me some more, and they talked to me, and I don't know what they talked about. But then every time I walked past them multiple times, and they remembered that I told them no. He's like, "Are you sure you don't want to meet the idiot?" No, bitch, I don't want to meet. I don't want to know anything about this. And by the fourth time I had to walk past those fuckers when I was at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, about a week after this, I had to have a strategy to get away from them. I had to hug around the path, and I didn't want to talk to them anymore. I understand, Salim Basul, you fucking moron. You need to figure out that if you want to charge people more money to visit your parks, you can't be bombarding them with unavoidable advertising to the degree that you have to duck and get away from them because they're fucking annoying. You raise your prices, make it feel like a more upscale place to visit. Yet you do that shit and you're like, hey, which side of Twix are you on every advertisement? It's just a lot. Over Texas is one of the parks that's, the least infringing on your, personal space with advertising over a lot of parks that exist. Magic Mountain's atrocious with that. These wait times are fantastic, right? Other than Mr. Freeze, but we'll get there. But it's just, you can't be doing that shit, Six Flags. One of the only good things about the whole CEO fucking up thing is that 2022 was the year of the walk-ons at Six Flags. This year I went to Over Texas, Fiesta Texas, Six Flags America, Six Flags Over Georgia. I went under damn, I got wet there. I was hot, I guess, that day. Ooh, good stuff. And there's no waiting, man. It was regardless of when I went, it was just walk on city. Got to go on everything. So honestly, I got the ultimate Six Flags experience. And it was not being around crowds, which is exactly what Salim Basul wants, right? He's like, well, if they're not there, then we need fewer staff to take care of them. The people who are there are going to spend more money because they're happy because they're in fewer lines. Well, that happened, but it was as a result of you changing your policies on how much you charge people to even be there multiple times, and you don't know what you're doing. And it's a whole disaster. Six Flags is managed atrociously. New Texas, I couldn't find a segue. It's dumb. But in the past, they made good decisions, such as a New Texas Giant, the RMC prototype, which holds so well today. Unlike a lot of the incorrect people who say New Texas Giant is one of the worst RMCs because it lacks intensity. It was clearly, as the prototype, not pushing boundaries, and every RMC since then had more forces. They added inversions, they did this, they did that. In response to those people, I say poo-poo to you and fuck you. This is one of the most highly regarded RMCs in my opinion, and I highly regard it more than most of them. It's around my number 30-ish or something. It's probably dropped a couple spots because I added a couple stuffs. But I have this thing over all kinds of stuff. I think it's better than Storm Chaser. I think it's better than Twisted Cyclone. And the reason why, it isn't because nostalgia and stuff, because I wrote it for the first time not that long ago, a few years ago. It's because it is the only RMC that I've ridden so far. I hear Untamed at Wallaby Highland maybe might have some of this energy, but not really. That it isn't overly intense and it doesn't go nuts. It feels like it has the airtime hills, the intensity, the momentum of a classic awesome wood coaster, but with RMC smoothness, which has maintained. It's so smooth. It really is. And I have a better way to frame it. So let's say that most RMCs attempt to go 10 out of 10 intensity with what they do if they build now, because that's the whole point. World records and high limits, inversions, and whatever, steep drops, big things, because that's RMC's niche now. But this thing, the way it stands out now with all the other RMC iBox coasters, is that this feels like it's a little more subdued, and those 10 out of 10 goals, this one only ever gets to 7 or 8 out of 10. But the end result of that is that this motherfucking roller coaster is such a joy to ride. If you have to wait 90 minutes, or I saw it was a 180-minute wait the last time I was here, because I showed up like on a Saturday night after the state fair because I just wanted to laugh at crowd sizes. That was a thing. But when you don't have to wait, when the ride ops are just on break most of the time, which good for them, I'm glad. They don't get paid enough to have to tolerate customers like me. Pay them triple what they get paid now. That's how you improve that. When you don't have to wait for flock to get on a roller coaster this good, it's really great. It's long, it's intense enough. It's as intense as a classic wood coaster you would like. So I see people in their 50s and 60s, with maybe a knee problems, back problems, not wanting to get absolutely shat up by a roller coaster. This right here is just the nice equilibrium point of modern tech, smoothness, classic, blah, blah, blah. It's just good. And I don't think a roller coaster like New Texas Giant will ever be built again, because there's no marketability in offering a roller coaster that does what this does, And for that, it'll hold a place in my heart forever as long as it's maintained properly, which I assume it will be, because Over Texas is the crown jewel of the Six Flags chain, so why wouldn't they take care of it? I'll be back here at worst every 2 years, because that right there is it's a roller coaster experience. Like, if you go into it with the perspective that it's a good thing that it isn't an overly intense RMC, which makes it have a unique attribute that makes it stand out. And if you go in like that, you're like, it's fun, it's smooth, it's intense enough. That's how you appreciate New Texas Giant, and I do. And as a result, classic all-time roller coaster, and what I consider the best in the park comfortably. I have Shockwave 13 spots below it, and still in my top. It's 43 or something, so 30, 43, something like that. I have Mr. Freeze below that, and Titan, which we're about to talk about, went up a lot. It used to be at not a great spot and went up a good bit, but it's still 4th place, in my opinion, which I know is a hot take, but hey, I'm trying to explain my positions. Drinking some more. Give me a sec. Texas-sized hot dogs. That's one of the things about Texas that drives me insane. I understand the state pride, everything's bigger in Texas, etc., etc. But when it becomes the focal point of your theming, that Buc-ee's energy. Buc-ee's. I'll talk to you about Buc-ee's in a second if I remember. I have a whole thing to say about Buc-ee's, but the point I'm trying to get to is that it's a little much, and people in Texas love celebrating that shit, but out-of-towners are like, oh my God, it's really, really tacky that you're just so hardcore about yourselves in Texas like that. And I was enamored so much on my latest rides of New Texas Giant, which weren't even at night. The night rides on that are beyond a good time, and I didn't get it that time, but I was having such a good time that I was like, I really wanted to get a New Texas Giant shirt. And then I look at it, and then I remembered that this roller coaster is called New Texas Giant. Oh yeah, big ass Texas on it, and the Texas flag. When I go to amusement parks, I want to represent roller coasters that mean a lot to me. I don't want to represent Texas. I'll be honest, outside of Austin and Dallas, I'm not really visiting Texas very much. In my family, there's some family there. I'm not really visiting Dallas outside of roller coasters. I'm being really honest with you. All right, so Buc-ee's, however, since we're on this whole Texas thing, these motherfuckers. It's basically the ultimate conglomeration of consumerism I have ever seen in my life. It's like walking into an idiocracy amusement park of consumption. It is disgusting. 120 pumps. Everything is just gluttony. The people inside are gluttonous. And they hold their piss for 67 miles to get there. And during my travels during September, Buc-ee's was there for me. Like when we went like 40 miles, like around like the Georgia part of the trip, which is, before this, and there wasn't a place to eat, and I was hungry, and I saw that stupid beaver, and I'm like, all right, and I caved in, and that brisket sandwich and those chips, that was the best convenience store sandwich I have ever had in my life, and those homemade potato chips are the best potato chips I've ever had in my life. You motherfuckers, I understand. It's disgusting, and it's just, I understand why Americans are made fun of for being like just gluttonous, obese consumers. But then after that, honestly, good experience, I went through this Texas trip, and I when we passed through Houston for the San Antonio leg that's coming later in my series, I definitely did the one in Baytown and the one in Katy. I stopped at both of them. I even took a nap at the one in, because we went on 2 hours of sleep, and me and Lacey and I needed to nap so that we could drive safely. And Buc-ee's was there for us every time, and I'm embarrassed. And look, I still hate Buc-ee's, but the beaver I can't disrespect. We're at Titan, and I know I've been teasing that Titan like changed the game or whatever. I don't think I'm making this shit up, because this is my 4th time that I've been to Six Flags over Texas, and the first 3 times I rode it, and I had also been a few times to Six Flags Magic Mountain. I considered Goliath and Titan to be exactly the same shit, but Goliath at Magic Mountain a little bit better. There's the return of my finger. It's been a while since I saw that. And I considered Titan the inferior one of the two. Probably not a lot. The helixes are pretty intense or whatever, but other than that, it was a very intensity devoid experience from what I had remembered the first 2 times out of 3, because the 3rd time it was closed. And it was closed for a really long ass time for renovations and shit. And I was like, well, we'll see what happens. And then I came with Lacey. I'm like, well, I had to hit Titan again. And what happened? It was way more intense. I was graying out in parts. And I'm like, what the dude, it's a different roller coaster. I noticed the mid-course trims, which used to stop you to like literally standstill traffic at an interstate. It barely did anything. It was already going faster into it. The helix part was lunacy, and I rode it 4 times to make sure that I wasn't like, oh man, maybe I had a little bit of weed and I was just enjoying my life right now a second ago because I had a Texas-sized hot dog. I didn't even eat that. I don't even know what I ate today. Oh yeah, I know, lava boar. I ate the Mexican food nearby. That's what I ate. But whatever. I really, really liked those rides on Titan. It cracked my top 100, and it was one below Goliath at like 117 or something out of 322, which is what I ended up with after these couple trips. And it went to like 94. It went up way higher. It was not the same roller coaster. It wasn't. They did stuff. Whatever they did, they made it a faster bitch. And I hear that they did the same shit at Mamba at Worlds of Fun, with just like calming down on the mid-course trims, and then it became like Mamba XL 200 on those last parts, where it went from imaginative floater to actual ejector. If parks want to, Cedar Fair and Six Flags, if you guys want to start just pretending your mid-course trim brakes don't exist, and changing the settings where the lift tail goes maybe 7 miles per hour faster, both enthusiasts and the general public are going to love you for it. You've already had years of confirming that the coaster's fine. Stop fucking around and change your settings for the operations to go that way. That applies for all of it. Your investments are going to pay dividends. Like even on flats, you got those Mondial top scans, which are my favorite flat rides in the fucking world. The one at Chessington World sorry, the one at Thorpe Park is fantastic when I was in London and shit. But then they have the exact same ride at, what was that, Carowinds? And I was like, wait, what happened? And it's just because they put it on a lower setting. But then I went to Knott's, and then they put it on a higher setting, and it was fantastic there. And now they're doing that to roller coasters too, where they're like, okay, we'll unnerf our old ass roller coasters so that we like breathe some new life. That's like basically giving like a Botox injection and a shot of cocaine for measure to a roller coaster that's been there forever. The general public's like, let me ride this very familiar ride that I've been on 376 times, and wait a minute. On ride number 377, it actually started to be great. Do that shit more, man. It's good. I'm drinking some. Hold on. So now we're walking at El Asoradero, whatever. Once again, I cannot give you input on most of these tertiary attractions, such as like log flumes and whatnot. Lately that I've been traveling with Lacey, though, I will give credit to her that she has turned me more into the tourist consumer side of things. That I primarily went to parks with her that I've already been to before, so I wasn't like a credit collecting whore like I usually am. Like, oh my god, I need to get on this shit as fast as possible. And taking it at a more leisurely pace, stopping to actually eat the food and go to Dippin' Dots and Sunday shops and get under mist fans and get wet, and just take it easy. The luck of the draw on all the parks we've been to: Alabama Adventure, over Georgia, Dollywood, Frontier City, over Texas, Fiesta Texas, Kima Boardwalk, Galveston Pier. We did all of those in September, which was like the best, honestly, the best month of my life. It was so much coaster action. So many roller coasters. It was great. And that's what, generated a lot of the footage of the channel. And it was, and I started to do it more from a touristy perspective, where maybe I went to a place called Sugar Shack and Texas Taco Bar, and it was nice. Look, I'm going to admit that, having the whole autistic tendency of collecting. By the way, I'm sure I have like some semblance of being on the spectrum, guys. I'll acknowledge that. Come on. But collecting all the credits and traveling, the whole scavenger hunt aspect of it, and comparing, man, that pothole on that GCI compared to that CCI that way. I know you have to have like, a little bit of that kind of personality to be this hardcore into the hobby, but to go into that along with company that is a tourist but still really loves the roller coaster stuff, wants to learn, B&M, tell me more. But to have that kind of mix is the definitive amusement park experience, even for a complete piece of horseshit garbage like myself. Going in as like, credit, collect the credit, marathon now, oh my god, eating's annoying. That was me up until like August 2022, and now I think in future parks I'm gonna be a little more appreciative of being on. Come on, man, I thought the finger over the screen was a thing that doesn't happen anymore, man. Damn, fuck off. We're going to Spain, where they have a Larson Loop that's not a roller coaster. That's absolutely fake news. And if you're like a random Texan watching this, not knowing what's going on, and you're wondering why is that not a roller coaster, you're not a moron for asking that question. The reason why it's not a roller coaster is because roller coasters by default are gravity powered devices. Whether it's launched or lifted up, at some point gravity takes over, and the gravity taking over is the point of a roller coaster, and that thing moves your train the entire time. That little looping circular piece of fucking shit. The one here is way safer than the ones you'll find in your state fairs. In Lava Bora, am I just walking away from Lava Bora? I'll talk about Lava Bora. I'm not going to forget about that. It's safer than the ones in your state fairs. Those in their state fairs are safe too, but they feel sketchier, of course. Lava Bora, it is one of only two bobsled roller coasters that I've been on, but the only Intamin. And the other one I rode was a mock at King's Dominion, and I missed a chance of flying turns at Knoebels because part of the track was missing. I'm glad they didn't open it. That would have probably killed me. So they only between the two I've been on, this one's objectively worse than the mock one. That one was amazing. This one's Okay, so here's the thing. I'm an Intamin fanboy. I always built a bobsled in every freaking park I built in Roller Coaster Tycoon. I loved it. And I still really like this one. It's a good ride, but I can see why people don't give a fuck. And I can incredibly see why people don't give a chance to that son of a bitch when you have to wait one of the longest poo-poo hats and Jigglypuffs or whatever the fuck. When you have to wait an hour and 45 minutes for La Vibora, when you can go to Titan and wait, half of that, and you can go to do Texas Giant and wait maybe about that too, or you can go to a real coaster like Shockwave and wait 12 minutes and then actually have a better ride. It's a whole thing. La Vibora is fun. It's worth the credit. The paint scheme is really cool. Six Flags Over Texas, I like the way they put that carousel there. Will I ride it? No, because it's a carousel. And will I have children? No, I won't, because that's children. So we're walking away from that shit, and overall, I must say that this was my favorite time that I have been to this park. It's not consistent operations. I've seen it in all its variability. The first time I went there was the cushiest because I planned it. It was like January, the visit in January 2021. I went like on a Wednesday, and it was walk-on city. I came back. Hurricane Ida took a shit on my life, and then I went to the state fair after that, and then I didn't have to. I had to. There was a 180-minute wait on New Texas Giant at night. But one of the things that it's a secret that people don't talk about in these parks is that even if you show up on an atrociously abhorrent day, if it's a day that they stay open late, like 10, 11, 12, families need to go home at some point. People are satisfied with their last rides. Ride the negligible shit. If you get your fast pass, obviously, if you're rich, or like me, and you're not rich, it's worth the investment. Oh yeah, baby. 5 minutes. And near the end of the day, you will get those last couple rides. The second visit that I had to over Texas, there were some legit lines. In New Texas Giant, I had to wait a bit. But then at the end of the day, it was like maybe an hour left. I had only ridden it twice when I wanted to ride it more. But in that last hour and 30 minutes, I rode it like 6 more times. What was cool is I went to the little chicken coop where you go if you're scared and shit. And I got to duck the line by being in there. And I asked the really awesome ride-op, who I'm never going to dox because I don't want them to be in trouble for this awesome customer service. They were like, look, if there's an empty row or empty seat and you ask nicely, you can get on that shit. And there were a couple kids who heard about my strategy and were like, let's fucking go. Fort LeJohn is hilarious. That's my favorite bathroom at any park. That's how I'd label shit on a video game bathroom. Drinking, hold on. The shit's stellar. It's just, I had such a good time on that ride on New Texas Giant, because I could just throw myself back onto the train. Lots of camaraderie with the ride-ops and the kids who were just like trying to fill seats with me. I know that's not Six Flags policy. I know it's not, because other parks would scoff at that shit. But that left a really awesome impression in me, to where I didn't lose my good impression of this park when I came back, when there was a 180-minute wait for New Texas Giant later on. And I looked at him like, all right. But then I got on in line at like 11 p.m. and I got my good night ride, and it was great. And then I came back now the 4th time. My impressions of this park are still quite high. My impression of Six Flags Over Texas very greatly exceeds my overall impression of Texas, the state itself. Runaway Mountain, I had only ridden on my first visit, and I really didn't remember it much. And I'm walking into it with you, with Lacey, and I'm like, I might as well just rewind this, because I actually forgot to include it in my rankings. And then when I went to include it in my rankings, and then I saw the POV didn't exist, it didn't really tell you shit. I'm like, I need to ride this ride again. It's like I rode this ride when I was a teenager, from how little I remember it, even though I had ridden it not that long ago, I guess. We did have to wait a little bit for the line, but it was worth it because that was fun. That was as a legit, really good roller coaster, like surprisingly so. It's what I really liked about it is that Lacey, since she was being like hardcore indoctrinated into the enthusiast fandom, like here's a lot of parks really fast, like 0 to 100, because before September her biggest thing was like a couple Disneys and that was it. Rampage at Alabama Adventure was a game changer, for context. That was the first park. So we're going in here and it's like, all right, well, you've learned about Giovanola and Schwarzkopf and all this shit. You haven't fucked with Premier Rides yet. So we're going into this son of a bitch, and I'm like, this is a really, really mildly ironic but largely hilarious roller coaster to start as your first Premier Rides ride, because it is the only one, I think, with a lift hill rather than launch bullshit. Or at least the only one I've been on, right? I'm sure there's one in like Finland or something. You're gonna tell me I'm an asshole. You're right. Just accept being right. Good for you. But it was the only. It was a very unrepresentative Premier Rides debut for my friend, and honestly for me as well. Like I was in line. I thought it was an Intamin for some reason. I think that maybe I was confusing it with the one at Six Flags Great Adventure. Well, either way, it was a really fun ride. I loved it. Even worthy of the whatever 15 minutes I was waiting. I don't know what the fuck I was waiting for. It's wild how like the camera settings are all fucked up with the lights and shit when you just get into a slightly darker thing. Like, even with a good GoPro, I need to learn how to like change the lighting settings when I go into like tunnels and whatever. Runaway Mountain, loose item pickup through door and right. Did you learn anything? Sure didn't. I didn't. All right, so we're walking through here and we're 46 minutes into the 67-minute long video. I might be able to finish this son of a motherfucking bitch. It's so long. I enjoyed that ride. It's worth it, and it's hard to find. The layout of this park is a little weird in that this is like a little like side nook thing that's really easy to miss, ends in a dead end, like that little restaurant thing. Like, this is the end of it. It's kind of like a little house. I know that there's a word in the English language that fits exactly what I want right now, like a little, not nook isn't the word, I want to use a sarcastic one, like chode isn't the word either, nor is it finger. I see that finger. It's like a little it's kind of the shape of a crooked finger going off of the layout into the map, like where he's like, here's Runaway Mountain, some abandoned concessions and a picnic area, and that's about it. And Fort LeJean, honestly, Fort LeJean is about as much of a fucking star attraction as Runaway Mountain. Anyway, as we walking back toward Fort LeJean, we are walking toward what is supposed to be the star attraction of this entire video, which, I haven't acknowledged other than, brief mentionings. It's Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast, final day of operation, Friday, September, I have no idea, 2022, but it matches the real one if you look it up, and it was a bit of a coincidence, but that's really hype. I'm bringing a new friend who's has 1 month to be an enthusiast as fast as possible. Let's hit Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast on the last day. Not that it's special, because we'll eventually go to Six Flags St. Louis where they have it there too, but over Texas is the definitive one, and there's Dippin' Dots. I've been attempting to not go to the All-American Cafe and instead go to Dippin' Dots and acknowledge all of them as much as possible for absolutely no reason, and I've been neglecting it lately in my videos where it passes by. I film it and acknowledge it in the filming, but I don't when I'm talking because I'm distracted by a woman bouncing her ball and giving it to her child. It's like, that kid's really enjoying that bouncy ball. I'm glad he acquired it after probably paying $10 per play 7 fucking times to win it. Fucking scams, these damn fucking these fucking little carnival games. It's a whole thing. Pandemonium's worth it if the lines aren't fucked up. Aquaman's worth it if it ever opens. I know they're doing that switch track, whatever the fuck, to make it more or flipper, the turntable, or one of these things. Just to open it. I can't offer my opinion on it because I haven't been on it. I know a lot of people do. It's they have. Well, I've watched it, and I think I know a lot about roller coasters. I'll tell you how it works. All I've got is that I watched the Coaster Dash video where, the one in Europe and shit, and it was good. And the dude said that the splash doesn't hit as hard. It's a little underwhelming, but it's still a worthwhile experience. I don't know if it's going to be tweaked or accommodated or changed for the one at Over Texas, but that's all I got going for it. That's all I've got going for my description of it for you, because it's a model that hasn't opened in the United States yet. So, good luck, I guess. Pandemonium developing a line, like, that's the line you don't want to wait for. It's just not worth it, especially when you can just ride this exact same shit. It's 2 other parks, at least. So we're walking to the only part of the park that we haven't fucked with yet, and it includes, a bunch more shit, actually. This is a really big park. This is a really good park. There's so much stuff to do, and I am so jealous of people who have access to this place. Dry Hole Charlie's. That innuendo, I don't know. I don't feel like trying to find a joke there. Boomtown Bar, if I had more time there, I'd be there because it's a bar. And was that like a half middle thing? Or was I me? I don't know what that was. So we're walking toward this part of the park, and what we still have left to talk, there's a couple flats for sure. We got Mr. Fleas, need to take a piss, Batman, and George Roy Scream, I think, might be down there. Oh yeah, tell me some more. Alright, oh, my phone just went off. Somebody left me a message. I'm gonna ghost that shit. I don't want to talk about that. Turkey legs, I try to eat turkey legs at a lot of parks. The best one I've had, Indiana Beach has the best turkey leg I've tried so far. It's kind of wild, but, I only ever eat them at amusement parks. And it's good because it's like a lot of protein, and I'm high, and it's just like I get be ravenous and eat it without it being just only carbohydrates. I know it's still atrocious for you, but turkey legs are like my favorite energy food. Also because as a maybe formerly, but definitely still a little one-track oriented roller coaster enthusiast who only wants to be on rides and not waste time eating, funnel cakes and stupid worthless shit like that, I need to be walking. I need to be moving. And if it's, a Six Flags quality turkey leg that isn't, falling off the bone, delicious and whatever, it'll be pretty chunky, and I can eat it like a fucking dog hyena. I can just and it won't fall off the bone, and I can walk toward my next destination while fucking around with that stupid turkey leg. It's just a very efficient way of nourishing yourself when you're at one of these motherfucking amusement parks. Not the one at fucking Indiana Beach. You had to sit down for that shit. That was delicious. Recommended. What I don't recommend is recording 52 minutes and 30 seconds worth of footage in a video like this rather than maybe 19 minutes and 20 seconds. Bridging shit. It's so long. And also, the whole park walking tour part that I usually get right, I butchered, because I've definitely walked back where I've already been multiple times. And if you were to walk over Texas this way inefficiently as I've done, that's not the right way to do it. But I think I've at least covered my goal. Oh man, these Mist fans are absolutely divine. Six Flags believes in love only because of their use of Mist fans and water and shit. Lacey's just chilling. She's like, man, I'm not sitting here trying to give like a million opinions about all this shit. I'm just trying to be a fucking tourist, have a great time. And I gotta commend her for that shit. She was just vibing the whole time. Got all the credits, even got plural credits on all that shit. Like, absolutely, that was fun. I can rank them. She's got a full rankings and retains knowledge that this is the most beloved premier rides thing, etc. And I'm sitting here like, maybe I can follow an example. Look at how lower the quality got with me going indoors. Like, I already mentioned that shit at the Runaway Mountain, and I'm gone already. What did I? Oh no. Don't tell me that I missed. Okay, I'm still in the station. Okay, because I had like a motherfucking bit of Mr. Freeze reverse blast footage on the final day, and I thought I accidentally told Christine to edit that part out. That would have made me so sad. Okay, cool. So we're walking through the station, and I assume half of you aren't even in the United States walking through this, so walk with me.
Showing walking music station.
My fucking okay Google just heard some shit. I need to, no, don't play a radio. Stop. My Google Nest Hub Max just heard a false trigger and is like, all right, I'll play. I don't even know what's. Now I'm all distracted. I'm drinking while I figure out what I'm doing. Fuck you, Bugs Bunny, man. See, now there's a line because it's the last day of the thing. But look, they got like the two sides and shit. What they should do is really simple. They're not gonna, because it's just gonna be Mr. Freeze again. They're gonna reverse both of them. Maybe there's an engineering reason why. I don't know. I don't care. But it would have been really, really smart to basically divide the line, right? And have it to where you choose reverse or not reverse, regular. And since it's two train operations anyway, they can cycle between the two. The trains operate identically as they do now. I don't know why it would be a problem. And if, to be fair, half the time it's on one train operation. This is the first time I have ever seen Mr. Freeze in two train operations. I've been here. I rode this thing, it was down once, so I rode it 3 of the 4 times I was here, and once at the one time I was at Six Flags St. Louis, and this is the only time I've ever seen it with 2 train ops, which is pretty strong. It's pretty cool, which makes sense for today, right? And then I guess you could make front the default, and then whatever. Who cares which is the default? But why wouldn't you give your guests an option when the only overhead is to just flip one of the fucking trains? It's the same shit. I just don't understand. The ride ops today, gotta give them kudos. They were pretty funny, pretty silly. Like the whole like, all right, counting down 3, 2, and they launch and they don't say 1. They were beyond those cliched lame jokes. They were funny. I'm not going to quote any of it, mainly because I can't, but they're all right. They're all right. They did well. The energy was great. Everyone was happy. It was like people, you had a mix of people understanding that it was just going to be a refurbishment, but half the people were like, I will never ride Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast again. I might not ride Mr. Freeze again. And the way they had that vague marketing was like it was just the ride wasn't going to exist in any capacity anymore. And, they don't know about St. Louis. Nobody's going to St. Louis. 80% of these people are only visiting the Texas parks, et cetera, but whatever. It was good energy all around. Everyone was happy. I was happy. I mean, this is a good roller coaster. All of you normies who consider this the best coaster in the park are fucking wrong. I mean, it's just, you're wrong. New Texas Giant and Shockwave are better. Titan isn't even okay. It's better than Titan. Look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. So if you really insist Mr. Freeze is better, honestly, when it phases forward, I'm gonna treat it internally as a nerf. Like reversing through those absurd elements is the reason that is a crowd favorite. I don't understand the marketing of doing it the other way. Going forward again, it used to be that. They changed it to be backwards. I know from a nostalgia standpoint changing it back, but to reverse both of the trains to go back, I don't get it. It's so unique to have a reverse launch. Why? I don't understand why they would change. It doesn't make any sense, and it actually pisses me off. Let's smoke some weed one last time in this video. Give me a second. Alright, so here's Batman the Ride. The fucking repetitive cancer of the Six Flags chain. Look, B&M, the whole premise of this company is that, I know this is early, and I know I'm talking shit, and y'all are going to scold me, but it's just, they're supposed to be the star attractions, and they usually are, even these Batmen. But when there's 11 of them or whatever, I've been on so many of them. I've been on Batman the Rides that aren't called Batman the Ride in Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Batman the Ride isn't even called Batman the Ride because it's Goliath, because there was already a Batman the Ride. They're all the same shit. And even if there were only one, like let's say this was the only Batman the Ride that existed, it would still be below most of them. It would still be struggling to meet my top 200. All of these are below my top 200, but let's assume this was the only one. Or let's even go better, like the Over Georgia, like the best one, or I haven't been to the Great America, so I can't be fucking with that. The Over Georgia is the best one I've been to. I would rank that like my 170s or something, if it were the only one. I really take points off from shit being, not unique, but fuck. It's just, the theming's good here. And the coaster is fun, but B&M's better than this now. And it's just exhausting. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to these parks. If I've already collected the Batman the Ride credit, unless my company needs the credit or I'm just really just antsy for an invert, I'm not going to ride it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's just so repetitive, the experience. And I understand they got like a batch deal from B&M to get like a bunch of them and stuff, but like as a traveling enthusiast who's, you know, done a little bit of this, it's just I don't get excited for Batman the Ride, and it's really hard to do it. That being said, I did get a good ride in this video that day. I mean, partially it was probably because of the fact that I was with company that had never been on a B&M vert yet. That was the first one. She loved it. I got a better ride than the only other one I ever got on this one, by a good order of magnitude, actually. And I loved it, and the crowd loved it. It was good energy, so that became like second or third favorite Batman, I guess, as a result of it. George is still trumping it. But at the same time, it's still Batman the Ride, though, you know. I'm not gonna fault you for liking it. You should like it. In fact, you're wrong for hating it. But at the same time, I'm walking away from it. I'm gonna change the topic because there's only about 6 minutes left in this motherfucker. That flat down there, I'll talk about it in a bit. Joker, the tech that it came from, that SNS bought the rights to the fourth dimension technology from Arrow when they went bankrupt and they fucked up. It really breaks my heart that instead of building more Ejanikas and Dynaconas, they're just building SNS free spins, which are just there's some dude on Reddit who left the worst hot take I've ever seen in my entire goddamn life. So he essentially said that what's the point of coasters like X2 with their maintenance issues and what have you when SNS has perfected the technology with their SNS for their free spin models using the same, you know, wing coaster flippy technology in a compact plot, and the customers are getting the same experience anyway. It's essentially the same thing. Why would you need to fuck with X2? And then people have to come and, have you even been on X2? I was like, no, but I mean, you can make a good assumption. No, you can't. You can't assume that. It's so wrong. That hot take is so wrong. That's like having a hot take that you just stepped on poo-poo on the street and you're like, well, here's a hot take. That might be gold if I use my imagination. I might be able to sell it in a pawn store. No, it's bullshit. SNS free spins suck ass, man. They're not good. Tumbili is the only one I've ridden so far that I really enjoy, and I hear that there's two that break the mold. The one at Nagashima Spotland and Adventureland Iowa, which are on the profile settings where they're actually good rides. Remember I talked to you about that earlier with the Mondale top scans and Titan and Mamba and shit? If an SNS free spin is programmed to a model where it actually flips the shit out of you, and I've seen it, the one at Nagashima Spotland, what the fuck was that called? Because I remember I saw the POV and it looked like a completely different fucking roller coaster. It didn't even look like the same shit. What was it called? Not Nagasaki. Come on, man. Come on, RCDB. Don't do this to me. Not Acrobat. Arashi. So Arashi at Nagashima Spotland and Dragon Slayer at Adventureland, which I've yet to ride, are allegedly the only SNS free spins worth a fuck. That is not one. The one at Fiesta Texas is not one. The one at everywhere else is not one. But I wanted to make that point because I need to fill some time, and also I just passionately want to talk about that. I don't know. So that flat down there that I guess I saw for a little bit, it's so good. It's very weird and quirky and weird, and Lacey was like, no, I'm not gonna do that shit. That looks fucked. And I was like, I want to do it, and she was really nice. Go ahead, do it. I'll be on my phone, and I wrote it, and I'm like, well, I'm high, and that was exactly what I needed right now because none of that made sense, and it made me really happy. That doesn't make me happy. That's what I just complained about. And look, I'm talking like preemptively. So it's okay. So she's sitting down now, as I neglect it. I don't need that. That's what I was just talking about preemptively. It's the Harley Quinn shit. That flat is awesome. They need that in more parks. It is the general public looks at that like they're looking at coronavirus. Like they fucking hate it. The lines aren't really big. And I think I went in with maybe like 3 other people on the flat with me. And the way that I do these weird flats, like top scans, and honestly just the frisbees even, is I close my eyes, I let my limbs go to spaghetti. I don't hold on to anything. I just zoot out. Do it on that too. And close my eyes and just to where you can't anticipate what's next and shit. Writing it stoned in that format, that Harley Quinn, that was luxury entertainment. I know that is the most insane condition, and most people in the general public are still horrified looking at that shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dog? That's absolute goat shit. From a lunatic like me, from my perspective, that is fun. That is the ultimate way to ride a flat. And that, as a result, is in like top 10 flats for me. I mean, it ain't fucking with Scat 2 at Beach Bend. You want a hot take? That's the flat. Yeah, your face is glued to a sketchy old ride from the 50s that your grandparents were scared of. That's the good shit. But that's one of the best modern flats that throws G-forces at you that like, what the hell is that? Where'd that come from? That's some wild bullshit. Anyway, the last thing that's going to happen in this video, if this is read correctly, and it will only be incorrect if I wrote the notes incorrectly to Christine, because there's a part I needed to exclude because I went on too long on some shit, but I hope I didn't exclude Droy's scream. Which is, okay, so we got 1 minute and 30 seconds left. I think we might make it to Judge Roy scream. So let me tell you about that roller coaster. It is the wood coaster guy at Six Flags Over Texas, and it is the most inaccessible, difficult, random, located looking ass roller coaster. Most people aren't even gonna find the bitch if they're not locals, because they don't know how to find it. It's like all obscured and hidden, weird and shit. You see that big ass? You need to have a sign that's triple the size, and then just have like a big ass Sharpie, big ass circle showing here's Judge Roy's scream. Look at this abstract, obscure shit for me to get to it. It is actually outside of the park. Like when you're driving by near the hotels, they have like a good Hilton there and shit. It's just Judge Roy's scream just chilling by itself, looking abandoned when you're there at night, and then it lights up along the park, and it's like, all right, well, let's go into the park, but here's the problem. Where the fuck is Judge Roy's scream? It's a pretty damn good... Okay, hold on. It's a good coaster for how old it is, from a no-name manufacturer where it could be bad. It's not incredible, but it's fun. It's pleasant, and honestly, if I'm in a big, full 12-hour day at Over Texas where I have room for double rides, triple rides, I'm going to ride this twice. I might even ride it 3 times. You check your granddaddy's coaster. It's nice. Anyway, in summary, Six Flags Over Texas, it's great. Go there. Do it.